Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read chapter 3, The Twisted Trouble at 66049. Chapter 3. By the time we rolled to a stop, the weather plane had turned back into the magic school bus. Look, you can see the roller coaster at Weatherama from here, Dr. Wendy said. She headed down the road toward the amusement park. We all looked out the window. We could see the giant loops of the coaster sticking up into the sky. It wasn't raining here, but the clouds were dark and heavy. What's the coaster called? Wanda asked. The Twister, Dr. Wendy said. It's the wildest ride at the wildest amusement park in the world. Twist and shout. There are all kinds of twisters. Some have special names. Water spouts are weak tornadoes that form over oceans, lakes, and ponds. Once the water spouts sucked up hundreds of frogs from a pond and rained them down on a town nearby. Dust devils are toiling masses of air that form in the desert and send sand spinning. Snow devils occur high in the mountains. They suck up snow in their swirling winds. Fire, fire wheels are spinning towers of fire and smoke. They are caused by the strong winds created by forest fires and erupting volcanoes. Twister is another name for a tornado, Wanda announced. I think I just found my stomach again, Arnold said, and it hurts. We stopped at the entrance. Weatherama, one of the guards, walked over to the bus. Hi, Dr. Weatherby, he said. I'm afraid I have bad news for you. Does it have something to do with the weather? Dr. Wendy asked. He picked up an alert about a thunderstorm. A big thunderstorm is heading our way, the guard said, and we have shut down the rides. Then he added, in fact, the area is under a tornado watch. We couldn't believe it. We were all upset. This is the worst field trip ever, Carlos muttered. Boring, Ralphie said. Can we at least get some cotton candy? Phoebe asked. Wait, Miss Frizzle announced from the front of the bus. This field trip isn't over yet. Uh-oh, Anna said. I was just beginning to relax. I have an uplifting idea. What a letdown. We came here to learn more about weather, right? The Freeze asked. Right, we all answered back, plus to take some wild rides. Carlos added. Wendy, the Freeze said, I have an idea. Dr. Wendy got together in a huddle. Soon they were both grinning. The Freeze stood up and looked at us, grabbed hold of our partner's hand. We're going straight to the weather source. Dorothy Ann grabbed my hand. Before I could think twice, I felt the magic school bus tilt in the wind. The rest happened really fast. Sides of the bus fell away. The roof turned into a huge white balloon, and the floor became a giant wicker basket. Up, up, and away, the Fritz yelled, and a second later, we floated up into the clouds. Oh my gosh, Dorothy Ann said. We are in a weather balloon. The balloon flew up, away from the ground. At first, we could see all of Weatherama below us. Then the higher we went, the smaller everything looked. Soon, Weatherama had completely disappeared from view, the ups and downs of a weather balloon. Dorothy Ann pulled me over to where Dr. Wendy was looking at some weather instruments. Tim, look at those neat gauge, she gushed. I tried to free my hand from her grip, but I was trapped. I looked at the dials and gauges from which Dr. Wendy was copying numbers. Really neat, I said. Brr, Keisha said. What happened? A minute ago it was warm. Now it's freezing. We just moved from warm air to cold air, Dr. Wendy explained. We are right where I want us to be, along a front. The front of what? Ralphie asked. A weather front, of course, Wanda said. It's where thunderstorms can start. Everybody knows that. And you need a thunderstorm to make tornadoes. Dorothy Ann put in. from Dr. Wendy's laptop. A weather front. Thunderstorms often form around fronts. A front is where a large mass of cold air meets a large mass of warm air. A cold front can act like a giant snow plow, a bulldozer, pushing and lifting the warm air ahead of it. This can create a storm, and tornadoes can form from thunderstorms. Tornadoes, Arnold said. Get me out of here. Not quite yet, Dr. Wendy said with a sly smile. Do you all still have your partners? Dr. Wendy asked. Everyone paired off. Dorothy Ann squeezed my hand so hard I almost screamed. She was excited about the storm. Excellent, Dr. Wendy said. We're going to explore how bad weather builds along a front. Half of you are going with Miss Frizzle to the cold part of the front. The other half will come with me to the warm part of the front. But how will we do that? Carlos asked. We've only got one balloon. Before you could say magic school bus, the big weather balloon was surrounded by a little balloon. Each one just the right size for two terrified kids. Off you go now, cold front kids, Dr. Wendy said, as she packed half the class into their mini balloons. We'll meet you later. Miss Frizzle, Arnold, Wanda, Carlos, and other kids took off into the sky. I could see them shivering as they drifted into the cold front. Now it's our turn, Dr. Wendy said. Board your balloons. Dorothy Ann scrambled into a balloon first. I followed behind, hoping I wouldn't get one of her science lessons. I was wrong. Tim, do you know what kind of cloud that is? She asked as we drifted into a big thick one. No, Dorothy Ann, I said, but I'll bet you do. Clued into clouds. There are many different kinds of clouds. Their shape, color, and height can give you clues about what kind of weather is on its way. The cumulus clouds are soft and fluffy. Cirrus clouds are thin and wispy and float high in the air. These are fair weather clouds. Stratus clouds form a thick, low-lying blanket and can carry rain. Cumulonimbus clouds are big, heavy storm clouds. When you see these, expect thunder and lightning. You know what they say, Tim? Two's company, there is a cloud. And this one looks like a cumulonimbus cloud to me. Chapter 4, a big gust of wind brought our basket out of the cloud. I drifted over to Dr. Wendy and the rest of the kids in the warm front. Check your temperature gauges, Dr. Wendy called out. 76 degrees, I shouted. The wind was really starting to pick up. Our mini balloons bobbed around in the sky. Now check your humidity readings, Dr. Wendy said. Remember, humidity tells us how much moisture is in the air. Mine shows 95%, Phoebe reported. Is that high? It's so high that you can expect rain at any moment, Dr. Wendy said. We're in the middle of warm, moist air that has blown in from the south. Right now, we're sitting next to a wedge of cold air from the north. Is that where Miss Frizzle and the other kids are? Carlos asked. Let's check, Dr. Wendy said. She picked up her walkie-talkie. Weatherby to Frizzle. Weatherby to Frizzle. She said into the speaker. There was a loud crackling noise. Then we heard the Fritz voice. Frizzle here. I'm with Arnold and the others on the cold side of the front. What's the temperature there? Dr. Wendy asked. Arnold, could you check? We heard Fritz ask. There was a pause. Then we heard the sound of chattering teeth. Finally, we heard Arnold for is 42 degrees. Arnold said, "That's a very big difference in temperature." Dr. Wendy said, "We are definitely in for some wild weather." Just seconds later, we felt a powerful tug on our balloon. "What is happening?" Kisha yelled as the balloon swung back and forth. "The cold air over there is pushing against our warm air." Dr. Wendy explained, "It doesn't need to be so pushy." Carlos yelled through the gusty wind. The winds were getting stronger and stronger around us. I grabbed my drawing pad and started to draw the clouds for the wild weather show. Wonder we'll never be able to match this. Wow, look at that cumulonimbus cloud, Dorothy Ann said with a gasp. "I can tell you, cumulonimbus is one of scary cloud. This one had become huge and dark. Just then a streak of lightning ripped through the cloud. It was followed by a boom of thunder. Lightning and thunder. Clouds can be charged with electricity. When the voltage gets high enough, electricity leaps from one place to another. Then we see lightning. Lightning heats up air and makes it expand. Thunder is the sound of the air expanding. The wind was tossing us around from one direction to another. As we flew past Dr. Wendy, I heard her talking to the freeze on the walkie-talkie. "Things should be looking up, way up. Any minute now," she yelled. A minute later, balloons shot straight up into the air, as if we were in a windy elevator. We were riding on an updraft of warm air. The warm air kept rising. We flew up thousands of feet higher. We were surrounded by the big, top-heavy cumulonimbus cloud we had seen earlier. It was getting bigger. Dorothy Ann was checking our temperature gauge. The air temperature is dropping," she said. "Fast, that's not all that was dropping. The water vapor in our cloud was getting colder and colder, was starting to condense. Rain began to fall around us. I pulled the hood of my rain slicker tighter around my face. Then I noticed we're falling too." "It's a downdraft, Tim," Dorothy Ann said excitedly. We plummeted down, swishing lower and lower. Around us, I could see the other balloons riding the downdraft with us. "Hey, there's a freeze," Dorothy Ann yelled, pointing down. I peered over the edge of the basket and saw Miss Frizzle and the rest of the kids in their balloons. They were gusting around in the sky. Then I noticed that the air was a lot colder. That downdraft had brought us all the way to the cold side of the front. Miss Frizzle and the other kids had been there all the time. Now we were right along at the front, where the cold and warm air were mixing together. The wind was just swishing around like crazy. Wanda came flying by in her basket. "I got some great notes for the wild weather show," she yelled. "I've got even greater drawings," I yelled back. "And we're going even higher. This is a high-flying adventure." Now our whole class was zipping forward through the rain in our two-seater balloons. Just as I was wondering what would happen next, I realized something. The feel of the air was changing. It was getting warmer again. "Dr. Wendy," I yelled as a balloon shot past. "What's going on?" A gust of wind pushed our balloon even with hers. "We are riding through the thunderstorm, Tim, and back into the warm side of the front," she hollered. "Hang on." "Ouch, what was that?" Dorothy Ann said. "Ouch," I yelled. "Something hit me too. It's starting to hail," Miss Frizzle called. "Hail to the hail." During storm, drops of water in clouds sometimes get tossed higher in the air before they fall to the ground. Droplet freeze. They get coated with more and more layers of ice as they collide with other water droplets that freeze to them. When these ice balls rain down, they are called hail. People have reported seeing hail the size of baseball, but don't try to hit a home run with one. Zeal was perched on top of Dr. Wendy's weather balloon. He was batting the hail around with his tail. One of the hailstones fell into Miss Frizzle's basket, conking Lee's right on the head. Our balloon ride was getting wilder fast. Those strong winds were tugging on our balloon again, and I had a feeling we'd be riding another updraft any second. I was right. Once again, we started zooming up with the warm air, but this time something was different. Instead of heading straight up, we were moving up and around at the same time. Thunderstorm was moving in a big circle, and we were riding up the updraft in a spiral. Miss Frizzle, I think it's time to go home. We all looked around, but we couldn't find the Freeze's ball balloon. When we passed Dr. Wendy, I saw she had a worried look on her face. She was searching through the cloud. Where was Miss Frizzle? Tim. Dorothy Ann said in a shaky voice, according to my research, we're going to be in the middle of a tornado. Very, very soon. I was getting so dizzy from flying around in a circle that I didn't answer. According to my research, we were in a tornado. What should we do? Phoebe screamed as she whizzed by us in her balloon. Just then I heard the honk of a familiar horn from below. We all looked down. It was the magic school bus. The magic weather plane. And Miss Frizzle was in the driver's seat. The weather plane roared into twisting clouds to save us. A hatch opened up on top of the plane, and we all dropped out of the clouds and into our seats. Everyone cheered for the freeze. Carlos called out, "Here's another twister for you." Terrific teacher tricks terrifying tornado. What was that? Dorothy Ann asked. Carlos grinned and said, "A tongue twister." The end.